Valentine. I'm pleased to declare Paul Narula Academy Champreneur Talk number 60 open. Shall we all rise for the Thai national anthem? Once again, a warm welcome to Paul Narula Academy Champreneur Talk number 60. Now, for those who are new to this event, let me provide a little introduction of Paul Narula Academy. I set up this academy 35 years ago. You may wonder that 35 years is a very long time, why this academy remained very small. The reason because I'm not a full-time educator. I have never been a full-time educator. I'm a business entrepreneur in real estate, and I like to help people. I like to talk. I like to teach. So that's how Academy came about. And in 35 years, it has been on and off, active, semi-active, inactive. Whenever we are busy with some new real estate project, the academy may remain inactive for a few years. So that's why in 35 years, we haven't grown a lot. This academy focuses on raise your game of life, or in creating entrepreneur mindset. Whatever our position, whatever we may be, we all need entrepreneur mindset to move ahead, to grow, to upgrade our skill, to raise our game of life. Now, what is this event, Champreneur Talk? Champreneur is my own created word from the word champion and entrepreneur. Champreneur is an alumni meet for my trainees. We hold meet once in a while, but it's open to public. And what is this alumni meet about? What is this Champreneur Talk about? It's a combination of talk on various subjects, different subjects, something we can learn, we can upgrade ourselves, something to inspire us, something to motivate us, and at the same time, it's a networking event. It's a forum where we get to know each other, we exchange business cards, we introduce ourselves, our product, our business. Kun Jim is not with us today. One of my trainees 4 or 5 years ago is now on a tour in Europe. She's on live on iPad there. the owner of veganery, the vegan bakery, the vegan cakes we are getting today is a complimentary from veganery. Although she's in Europe, she has provided us complimentary today. So this is what Champreneur Talk is about. Our attendance is a little thin today. I believe it's for two main reasons. Number one is Valentine Day. It's a Valentine Day. And number two, normally we hold event on Sunday. So it's very rare that we hold events on weekday. So I think these two reasons, our attendance is a little thin today. Please come this way. This way. Yes. Anyhow, whether we are fully packed or we have less attendance, our people joining us are always quality people. That's more important than to get 100, 200, 500 people, but small number but quality. First of all, I like to officially welcome our very special guest. There will be more proper introduction. Yeah, a little later. I like Kun Jessica, a model from Mongolia. Her mother, along with her mother, with us. Her mother is a yoga teacher. Kun Jessica, can you please come to officially welcome our very special guest speaker for today, Dr.Namita Paritosh. Kohok, please. With a bouquet of flowers. It's an honor, it's a privilege to have such a guest speaker with us from India, and a very interesting subject. I think the guest speaker for today, herself and the subject both are unique for our kind of event. Now, this is the format of our Champreneur talk before the main feature for this evening. Each one of us will stand up in our own place to introduce ourselves. Keep it very short. Your name, where are you from? If you are originally from outside Thailand. If you are originally from outside Thailand, where are you from? And the third thing is, what do you do? What is your product, or what is your profession? What is your business? Is a time you can promote yourself, your product for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So keep it very short. And of course, this is an opportunity for the rest of the people to get to know you and then to meet you personally during dinner time. I like to start with myself, and then we'll go on, continue on my right side. I am Paritosh Siri Narula, or my nickname is Paul. I was born in Thailand. I'm the third generation in Thailand. My family started in Thailand from my grandfather over 100 years ago. I spent most of my working life in real estate. I'm one of the director of this Omni Tower. Me and my family member, we developed this building 22 years ago. And all my life I have been engaging in teaching. I was an Assumption University instructor from 1984, 1996. One of my student, how many years ago? 30 years ago, seated here.
33 years.
33 years now. I'm really, you still look very young. Okay, that's me. That's how you introduce yourself. Keep it very short. We go one by one. Next, please.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Leonard Tang. I'm from Singapore. I'm in the real estate business, and I'm paying as a Bangkok visit. Nice.
Hello everyone, my name is Sunny. I was born and brought up here, and I came for the first time because I was interested, in knowing and getting more educated about all the great information and all the great education we get from them. And I'm into IT business, like we make websites and all. So my main thing is to try promoting everything online, every information we get shared online for other people also to reach out to other people. Thank you.
My name is Sukhumvit. I come from Mongolia. Yes, Mongolia. I am in Bangkok. Yoga class. Yes. Thank you.
Yoga instructor, master.
Yes, my yoga class will come. Omni Tower, come here. Next time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Ken Korana and I'm from Thailand. I'm retired and always trying to look for something new to do. And I think there's always an opportunity which I find available in Good Paul's events. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Champreneur. Nickname is Superman. I'm in accounting consulting business in Thailand, and I have a tailor shop in Denmark since 25 years already. Thank you.
I'm Tom and I'm from America and I'm retired and I just returned to Thailand last night after being away 10 months, and it's really good to be back.
Hello, good evening everyone. insurance. Through insurance can protect everyone with the insurance policy such as Asia. Now you can easy to fly and other classes. Whatever fire, aviation, property, life, non-life, everything you can buy, you can protect your life and your property. You can discuss with me. Thank you very much. Happy Valentine Day.
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Ratri. Head Club Assert, but people call me Down. My name is Down. I work property, my main job by the Sukhumvit area. And I am activist vegan too. I have sanctuary for animals. I help a lot of stray animals. And right now I am a consult for the Isumio company, naturally passport from Japan. If someone interesting, please contact me. This is very good for everybody. Thank you so much.
Sawadee. When I was a young man, I traveled to Asia as backpackers for 1 year, and well, that was young years. But now I'm coming regularly to Thailand and to India for just another way, just a more comfortable way. I like this kind of life. Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะ I am พิมชยาวราพันเรือน I am a life coach, I'm a trainer, I'm a product dealer, and I am also a music distributor executive. Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะต้อม I'm Tom from Thailand โอเคนะคะต้อมนะคะก็ I'm working with the wellness and health business ในมีน้องค่ะเป็นคุณพ่อ so happy to be here thank you
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Michelle. Thank you, Paul, to inviting me and my friend here today. I'm the beauty and health mentor, and my business is the alkaline water in front of you. Maybe some of you may not know that alkaline water can help cure cancer for over 80 years ago in Europe already. So this is 100% natural, so everyone enjoy. And my another business is the seminar. We can contact via Facebook. My Facebook is Michelle Sinriyan, both in Thai and English. I'm from Thailand. Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ วิวิเป็นคนไทยนะคะ ก็วิวิทำธุรกิจบริษัททำถูกนะคะ I'm the owner of business ทำถูก .com นะคะ แล้วก็วิวิเป็นไลฟ์โค้ชนะคะอยู่ในแม่รวยสอนลูก เพราะว่าวิวิสอนลูกจนประสบความสำเร็จเป็นด็อกเตอร์ระดับโลกนะคะจบจากอเมริกาก็เกียรตินิยมระดับหนึ่งแล้วก็ลูกก็สามารถชนะเลิศด้าน 3D พิมพ์เตอร์นะคะเป็นเบอร์หนึ่งของอเมริกาแล้ววิวิคิดว่าวิวิจะแล้วก็ลูกอีกคนนึงก็คือทำรายได้ปีละ100 กว่าล้านนะคะแล้ววิวิคิดว่าความรู้ที่วิวิได้สอนลูกของวิวิเนี่ย I teach my son เนี่ย for the big business and big valuation เนี่ยวิวิก็เอามาเป็นไลฟ์โค้ชนะคะอยู่ใน Facebook นะคะแม่รวยสอนลูกนะคะแล้ววันนี้วิวิ have one friend นะคะ he come from UK I met him about 1 minute ago นะคะ and he learning about physiology right
Hello. Hi. Yeah. So my name's Christopher. I was actually staying in the hotel. This gentleman here is good manager. Managed my stay here for 2 weeks. Fantastic job. And I was actually in the lobby area, and this elegant lady just came up to me, told me why she was here, and essentially she just invited me to come here. So my name's Christopher. I'm from London. I work I have an online business, but I also work in government as a consultant as well. and it's something that's kept me busy for the last 10 to 15 years. So yeah, it's been good. And I was in Thailand for 2 weeks on holiday, staying in this fantastic
Thank you.
hotel. Right, good. Thank you.
สวัสดีครับผมเป็นอิสมาอิลหรืออาจารย์ไม้จากประเทศพม่าครับผมเป็นอาจารย์ตรวจวิทยานิพนธ์ระดับปริญญาเอกปริญญาโทของ4 คณะของมหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่ถ้ามีอะไรผมช่วยได้ผมยินดีด้วยนะครับสวัสดีครับขอบคุณครับ
Good evening, namaste everyone. Myself Dr. Alka. As you said, this is alkaline water named Alka. My name is Dr. Alka, and it is helpful in curing cancer. So I am also helpful in curing all lifestyle diseases as I'm a doctor. I own my company, Agar. It is health and wellness company. Since 15 years, I'm practicing Ayurveda, yoga, and naturopathy. So that's it. And since I think 5 to 6 years, we whole family is affiliated with Biva, and we are here since 10 years in Thailand. Basically, we are from India. Thank you.
My name is Virendra Arora, and I came to Thailand about 32 years ago as a missionary. When I came to Thailand, one of my friends went and told his friend, and his friend said, I think Pastor Arora is the wrong person going to the right place. So I'm the wrong person in the right place with the right wife. And once she was asked to introduce, and I was sitting on the stage and she was in the audience, they asked her to introduce herself, and she said, I am the owner of that man. So this is my wife, Jubilant Arora. And she makes my life jubilant. And she was the first daughter in the family, so grandparents were very happy, so they named her Jubilant. And right now, I'd like to introduce to, oh yeah, by the way, every time I see this water, I've been using this, and I think of Dr. Alka. Okay. You're talking about beauty and beauty salon, and we have a beauty sitting here. Okay. We have a company called Rivigo, and you can download it on your phone. Just scan the, whatever you call it, ID? Barcode, yes. Okay. And you have more than 300 spas and beauty salons. Okay. And with the heavy discount, I left the brochure outside. Okay. So more than 300. Just one click and you have them all here on your phone. It's a mobile application. And with the heavy discount, some of them 50% discount, especially the hotel spas. You cannot beat the service. Okay. And the prices are almost close to the day spa. Okay. So you can go to 5-star hotel to book your spa. Okay. And then we also have a company called WitPay for your payment, online payment. You can use WitPay. You can even have your wallet here, okay, so whenever you need to make the payment. And I am not a businessman, but this business belongs to my son, Anurag. He is a son. I met him 15 years ago, but he is the owner of this company. Okay. And I'm very proud of him for what he is doing. And God bless you all this evening.
สวัสดีค่ะจอยกมลพันธ์เนียมก้องกิจสุขนะคะทำธุรกิจเกี่ยวกับนำเข้าสกินแคร์จากประเทศเบลเยียมจำหน่ายในประเทศไทยแล้วก็เปิดสปาศูนย์สุขภาพและความงามที่เซ็นทรัลบางนาค่ะ
My name is Thanen Nonati. I'm a hotel consultant, starting from the land and build design hotel. That's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Now we get to know each other better. So you can, whoever you feel you like to talk to personally, you can do so during dinner time. Now before we proceed to today's evening highlight, I like to share 2 tips for networking. I like to join networking events, and that's how I created this Champreneur talk to be a combination of talk and networking. Many networking events are over alcoholic drinks, and I'm not among the drinker, and the ticket to join include free flow of wine. That's how they advertise. So I thought, there should be some other people similar to me that like to join networking event but not really interested in drinking. And that's how I came about this idea that we are more serious about talk, about networking, rather than hanging around drinking counter. I like to share 2 tips. Of course, to make networking event very effective, a lot of tips we can learn, but let me share just 2 tips today. Number 1, we should create a rapport. Whoever we meet, we should first create rapport. Rapport means we should first create relationship. Do not just right away look to sell. Create relationship. Many people make mistake. Happened to me personally. They happen to see my profile on Facebook, especially from India. Many people happen to see my profile on Facebook and contact me on Facebook, and then right away start selling me, start bombarding with whatever product they're into. Just with the first test, a person failed. That's not the way. That's not the way. You create rapport first, create relationship first. Leave a while, leave a gap, leave a while. Not just right away start selling something. That's the meaning of create rapport. We feel more comfortable doing business with a friend rather than with a stranger. We feel confidence. We feel the trust. So the first tip is to create rapport. Of course, go to networking event. Go to any event. Even wedding party can be a networking event. But of course, we don't sell in the wedding party. It's just exchange of business card, get to know each other, create rapport. Even after finishing the event, you call up a person. You may also not need to sell right away. Maybe just call up, follow up, ask for well-being. How can I be of help? The second tip I like to share is, again, very common mistake by many people. We start talking about ourselves. The second tip is from the book, The Highly Effective People, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, the bestseller 20 years ago. One of the 7 tips in that book, thick book, 7 tips, elaborated fully. One of the tip is, first seek to understand before trying to be understood. First seek to understand before trying to be understood. We start talking about ourselves. Who am I? What I do? This non-stop talk. We are just boring people. We can. It's also a way to create rapport. We create rapport by understanding other person, listening. We have 2 ears, just 1 mouth. So nature guide to us. We should listen more than speak. Create rapport by listening, getting to understand. In first meeting, maybe possible, we may not be able to introduce ourselves properly. It doesn't matter. I think it's maybe better. We understand him or her first. And the moment we listen to someone, we get to know him or her better. Immediately we create rapport. Immediately on the spot, that person will like us, because we listen to him or her. So first seek to understand before trying to be understood. That's one of the 7 tips of the 7 highly effective people shared by Stephen Covey, and his book became bestseller 20 years ago, translated into over 50 languages globally. There is another tip out of the 7 tips. It's called win-win. Probably the first time we heard of the word win-win. He said, whenever you do business with anyone, always think of the word win-win in mind, rather than the old-fashioned school of thought of win and lose. I win, you lose. I'm doing business with you, I gain, and you lose. I kill you, win and lose. When we do business with anyone, always think of the word win-win, means we both gain. There is no loser. There is no loser in shaking hand. There is no loser in doing business together. Both sides win. And I read not only the English version, I read the Thai version. And the Thai version was not very well translated. You know, they use the word, in English, of course, it's the word win-win. But in Thai, they translated directly into chana. It has no meaning in Thailand. Sometimes from one language to another, you cannot translate directly. You need to understand that language. The right translation for win-win should be chanaด้วยกัน. Yes or no? You know, now it's understood. Chana, not chana. Of course, the word chana means win. But there is no such thing in Thailand, chana. Nobody can understand. In English, we can understand win-win. You know, but in Thai language, no one can understand what is chana. In Thailand, the right translation should be chanaด้วยกัน. There is no loser. So these are some of the tips for business networking. I'm a networking man. All my life, I have been doing lots of networking. Ajahn Thanin, we always meet. We meet at least once a month. We are both board of committee board of Thai Appraisal Foundation. In fact, we became friends much earlier, even meeting in the board. So these are all networking events. Now, let's move into the highlight of this evening. It's an honor for Narula Academy, for our Champreneur talk, for each one of us, to have very special guest speaker with us, motivational speaker, international motivational speaker. The winner of Mrs. Global United and many other beauty contests around the world, in India, in US, and around the world. And today, within few years, within a span of 3 or 4 years, her today talk will be her 500th talk. Wow. It's a good number for us, 500 talk, and her first motivational talk in Thailand, and number 500 globally. Of course, let me not keep on. Let's hear from her. I think more important, let's hear from her. Join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Dr. Namita Kohok, please.
Sawadika. Namaskar. This is Dr. Namita Paritosh Kohok, your Mrs. Global United Lifetime Queen. Today, I'm here to share a piece of my life. There are episodes which have happened. There is a story to it, and I would just like to start with the story because not taking too much of your time, because every individual who is here or you meet anyone anywhere has a story in his or her life. Am I audible to everyone right behind there? Yeah. You can listen to me? So I have titles, different titles for my talk sessions, and thanks to Paul Narula Sir's Academy for having me here tonight for this wonderful talk session. Why I'm saying wonderful? Because it means a lot to me, not just because it's Valentine's Day, just because this Valentine's Day and this talk session is marking the 500th talk session of A Journey from Cancer to Crown. I am humbled and honored to be a part and parcel today that you have come in numbers to listen to a lady who has conquered cancer in her life and how she has faced and how she has come till here is what I'm going to take you for the journey now. 6 years ago, Namita Kohok was Namita Kohok, not Dr. Namita Kohok. Namita Kohok was working with a residential school in my city in India, in Nasik. Nasik is a tier 2 city, a small place compared to the metros everywhere. And I had a very, very simple life, like most of the women have there in their early 30s. We have our family set. I had my son who was 6 years ago, he was 7 years of age, and things were very, very smooth. I was working and doing one important thing that I felt that everybody does, is setting up an alarm at night and so confident that we are going to be alive to put off that alarm when it rings in the morning. Everybody does that, you know. We place an alarm at night, we switch on the alarm at night, and we are so confident that nothing is going to happen to us and we are going to go ahead with a normal life every single day, as the way we think. Similarly, I was taking my life for granted. Lot of episodes were happening before that also, but life was always on a very smooth ride. Because working, when you're working for someone, you are just binded with few hours. You know, I always say that going in the morning at 8 and coming back in the evening at 5 and then finishing your daily work at home was such a mundane and a routine job, what I was doing at home. And similarly, one fine day, I had set up an alarm. In the morning when I could barely hear that alarm which was going on to my ears, because I could hear but I was not in a position to get up and put off that alarm. I was in terrible pain, severe, terrible pain. Maybe being a mother to a teenager now, what I could recollect is it was worse than labor pain. So it was that bad pain in my lower abdomen region. And in that severe pain, I was moved to an hospital in Nasik. When the doctors saw my condition, they said that she needs to be moved to a bigger hospital and to a bigger city. That's a metro city. It's 180 kilometers from Nasik. That's Mumbai, if you have heard about that particular place. And I was moved from the hospital in Nasik to Mumbai. You might be wondering that, you know, a lady wearing a tiara and narrating a story related to cancer, it's not getting joined anywhere, there's no link anywhere, but the link is going to come very soon. And with that severe pain, when I was injected with painkillers, I was on the way from Mumbai to Nasik. And from the journey from my small city till Mumbai, being, as I told, 180 kilometers, sounded the longest journey in my life. You know, we always feel, I always say that behind every inspirational picture, there is an untold story of constant pain, persistent efforts, and extremely difficult dedication which is given. With little things on my mind, I was thinking about something. The moment I was in Mumbai, in that hospital, I joined hands and I prayed to God. I was thankful that I was alive to reach that hospital. In my country, it's quite difficult for an ambulance to find a way to reach the hospital. Most of the countries have different norms. It is difficult in our country, and I thanked every single person who gave way to my ambulance. So, you know, saving one life of one individual, we don't even know that who that person is in that ambulance. So many times you all must have done it, given away to some ambulance. That particular vehicle might have some Namita in that vehicle. I reached Mumbai and I was told, I was, you know, scrutinized and tests happened, everything happened, and the doctor said that now we have to go ahead with the surgery, and the surgery will be lined up tomorrow morning, and it's only going to be for 1 hour. Laparoscopic surgery, If you've heard about it, it's a single stitch surgery, and I was quite sure that, okay, nothing major has happened. I have reached well in time and hope things go well with me. And everything seemed better because I was feeling better. The pain was almost gone because of the heavy medication which was given to me. Next morning, when I had to leave for the operation theatre, you know, every time, as I said, we are learning, I realized so many things. We all live in two worlds. One world is the world where I am talking to you in person, and the another world is others are listening to us through this media of social networking, which is a virtual world. We live and breathe with WhatsApp and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and so many other things. I realized very important thing in life, that the person who was sitting outside my operation theatre was the person maybe I must have not ever wished him good morning or good night or sent flowers or birds or any other sort of pictures. The person who loves you wholeheartedly from the bottom of their heart does not need to be there in your social networking. There is a networking which happens right within your heart, and that person is right in your heart. My husband was there with me, and I said that, let me just thank you. He said, why? I said, just like that. I realized that time that so much we give to people who we don't meet or see every single day, and we hardly give anyone anything whom we meet every single day. Maybe you must have realized someday that you must have texted, you know, long messages, and by the time you actually meet that person, you have nothing to speak. You always say that, oh, I've already wished her, I've already done that, I've already done that. There is good and bad in everything, and that's how the things were going around with me. Right from the best of whatever is my favorite jewelry to my cell phone to everything was left outside the operation theatre. Only I could take back inside or take along with me inside was one faith in God, that hope I come alive from this particular operation theatre. Things were good, things were happening well, and I was up and awake out of the anesthesia, and I could see that there were a lot of things around. There were a lot of pipes which were attached. I had a port in my neck. One of my hand was attached to the BP apparatus. The other was having IV was inserted through one of my hand, and I could feel a lot of weight on my lower abdomen. And being out of the anesthesia, gradually I got to know that a surgery which was supposed to be concluded in 1 hour lasted for 11 long hours. Once I was shifted in the room, I was told that doctors would like to meet you. And at that given point of time, I said, like, now why they have to meet me? Because whatever they have committed, they have not acted upon that. And there were so many things, but I never realized that they have all done it for my health and my betterment. The team of doctors, like I always say, there's a movie in Hindi cinema in Bollywood like Lagan. There was a team of players who came in and, you know, who conquered cricket. And this team of doctors came in my room and they said that, we want to break the ice now. I said, like, what is it that they want to tell me? They wanted me to be stable physically and emotionally. They said that, Namita, the surgery which took so long hours and such long hospitalization has one more part to it. I said, picture abhi baki hai. You're saying that, you know, in spite of going through all this, there's something more to come. And they said that as we said that we wanted you to be stable, we want to tell you that 50% of the war we have fought and we have won, which is surgery. And 50% is still, we are yet to fight that 50%. I said, like, what is that all about? Don't talk in percentages, let me know. They said that you have been diagnosed positive for cancer. And I said, like, come again. When they said cancer, after cancer I could not hear anything because I was numb, stunned, and the emotions were just flowing right from my eyes, because I was looking into my husband's eyes and I'm like, what? I had not met my son for almost 8 days post-surgery, things were hitting my heart, looking at his face, thinking about him, and then the doctor said that we have to start with your chemotherapies, and that's the second war. After chemos will come radiations. With the radiations will come brachytherapy. With all this will come multiple pathology tests, medicines, injections, doctors, hospital. I said, this seems never ending. I was crying every bit. I was shattered into bits and pieces. That's when I realized that when you are happy, when you are fine, when you are in the best of your health, so many people are around you. When you're not fine, when you need people the most, that's the time you realize who is the one who wants to be with you and who is the one who is not even bothered what's going wrong with you. The people whom I felt will be with me in my thick and thin were the first ones to leave. That's the reality of life. They were the ones who used to receive good morning or good evening from me with the virtual messages, and they left me the first. Try and hold on to relationships. They are the ones who will take you further in life. That's exactly what happened. They said that next day, next morning we'll start with the chemotherapy, and I had one thing on my mind: why me? There are thousands and lakhs of people who have, worst of the lifestyle, who do not exercise, who have alcohol, who do so many things. Then why the cancer has knocked only my door? So many things. When you look at yourself, you realize that something good, when it happens, we rarely thank God. But the moment something bad happens, we are there to blame. We are there to ask, why me? This question was asked by me for 100 or more than 100 times to the doctors, to so many people around who were close-knit, and why God has chosen me for cancer. And that moment, I was crying the entire night. Barely you could see my eyes the next morning, but I was very stable. When doctors met me next morning for my first chemotherapy, they said, oh my God, is this the same lady who was, sending me messages and asking me, why me, why me? I said, Namita, we find you very stable. Did you find the answer? I said, yes. I found the answer for why me. They said, what's the answer for why me? I said, the answer for why me. God has given me the answer. The answer is now, try me. No matter what happens in life, if God has knocked me down, God will take me out of this as well.
Very touching and very highly inspirational. And all I can say as of now is I regret for those who couldn't make it today. We have time for questions and answers, please. Any questions? Yes.
Traveling and everywhere, meet a lot of people. Who impressed you the most? You have met thousands of people. Any particular person or place or impressed you the most memorable in your journey?
Heard people adopting children, and I'm a mother to 6. My son is a biological mother to a teenager and adopted 5 girls who are from a very small town in my city. And apart from that, I met a lady when I was visiting an old age home, and I had lost key of my car. So, as I said, you must have seen that I keep visiting a lot of places, and one of that was an old age home, and the very senior, very sweet old grandmom was there, and I was, in a panic attack to look out for the key of my car. She said, sit, my dear, sit. I said, what happened? She said, if you have you seen a door? I said, of course. Compared to the size of the door, the lock is very small. I said, yes. Compared to the small size of that lock, is the size of that key, tiny key? I said, yes. One tiny key can open that lock, and once you open that lock can open a door. So that tiny key is your positive thought. So use that positive thought very wisely and just check out very quietly that where did you keep it. And that key was right there where I was actually looking out for. In the panic attack, I didn't remember those things. So from that day, she said that she has 4 kids, 4 sons, who the son's age might be 50 or 55 plus, the eldest. They all have left her, and she is at the old age home. And that sweet lady, that very senior 85-year-old grandmom, I have adopted her. That is one thing which is always in my heart, that I have adopted girls also, but one thing which is there in my heart is I have adopted that grandmom, because that, I feel senior citizens are the treasure one can have in their house. So that sweet lady is always a part and parcel of my family now.
One or two more.
Yes?
Just one question.
Yes.
You do the contest for the Miss Global. The one question is about women, but now I want you to explain cancer in one sentence.
Okay. I feel cancer is curable, cancer is conquerable, and cancer can look beautiful. So now one more crown you give me.
Yes.
How sweet is that? Thank you so much.
One more question. Yes.
I'd just like you to know and everyone else to know that last year, January, I attended a 10-day seminar called The Maker Heals. And I attended that seminar and I heard this blind Korean lady speak, and I said, never man spake like Mrs. Choi. And as she speaks, you can feel the presence of God. And for 10 days she gives you the plant-based diet. Okay? Oil-free, spice-free. Okay? And of course some people are asked to fast. And people are invited with any disease, every disease, to join that seminar. I was so impressed, I said I have to take her to India. So last year, we did take her to India, and in the last 5 months we have done 5 seminars in India. And many people have been healed. One, Dr. Jackson Rajendran, he brought his grandfather. And after I came back now, after the seminar, he put the post, my grandfather was with the cancer of the bladder. But after the seminar, he went back, we took him for a checkup, and they cannot find it.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. So God is working miracles. So we are His instruments. We make ourselves available to do His will. And of course, He pays the price also, because we have no money. Okay. And then He does His job by healing people. So next time when I have seminars in India, I'd like you to know that. I tell you. And then you can recommend people to join our seminar, and we do it free of charge.
Sure, sir. Yes.
Okay, because God pays for it. We don't have money to pay for it. He pays for it, so we extend this free service. But of course, free will, love gifts are welcome. You know, we don't refuse those. But we never require it from anyone. So God is doing wonders.
He is.
And no chemotherapy. And this lady runs a sanitarium in Korea. Okay, called Bethel Sanitarium. And when people come to that sanitarium, she says, put aside all your medicines. That's number one. Okay, if somebody wants to continue with vitamin C or this and that, she said, go home. Okay. So only when they admit that they will not take anything, they will come empty, only their clothes they are allowed to wear. And God is working miracles. Okay. And I praise God for that. And I want you to know, if you want a seminar like that, you let us know, we can do it for you. We don't charge any money for that. God bless you. I'm really impressed with your testimony today. And I praise God for what He has accomplished in your life. Thank you so much.
Any last question? Yes.
As a doctor, I would like to ask you, along with this chemo sessions and other treatment process, you followed or opted any other therapies also to cure this problem?
Yes. Once you are engaged with some sort of medical segments, most of the people who come and visit you become Google doctors. So, like the people who used to come and meet me, they told me few therapies, and they said, you don't have to do that. Someone else is going to do it for you. Pranic healing, similar to that is there are a few things, and they said that we are just going to give you healing. You don't have to do anything as such. Yes, distance healing. And they just said that if you are having pain, you are undergoing anything, do let us know that particular time, and things will be much smoother for you. And they were. That's what I have experienced. Second important thing, which I religiously do till today, is maintaining a very high fitness level. I work out for 90 minutes rigorously every single day, no matter whichever part of the world I am in and whatever time flight takes off. If I don't get any particular time to actually hit the gym or do anything, I am into Surya Namaskars and yoga that I regularly practice. So that I have been doing religiously, and it has been a boon to me, because my doctor initially said one thing: Namita, being thin doesn't mean you're strong. You have to be strong, and being strong comes from good fitness regime and good food. And good food is like, what more I can say when sir is here with us here. So.
And what about your diet before cancer and after cancer? What kind of diet? Vegetarian?
I'm a vegetarian, not really a pure vegetarian, but I like vegetarian food, not too much into non-vegetarian like the cuisines here. But yes, I have been more towards organic food. That's very not so easily available in India. And moreover, I follow a good water diet, because you have to flush out toxins in your body, and that's how once something happens to you, only then you realize that why they keep saying that have more of water. Because it was very simple for my doctor to tell me that have more of water because you will have good skin. So she knew the tactics, how she wants this particular patient to drink water. So I follow the water therapy as well. Thank you so much.
No comment. You know, some people ask me, this Korean lady is blind. She became blind 3 years ago. Why doesn't she heal herself? She doesn't claim any healing powers. Okay? And if he does not heal her, that's up to him. Okay? Because what I understand from the word of God, in weakness, his strength is made perfect. You know? So glory be to his name. If whatever stage he keeps us in, as long as he can use us to do good to others, okay, we should be willing.
I'd like to invite Dr. Alka Gupta to present a small token of appreciation to our very beautiful, very talented motivational speaker today. I have learned a lot. Although I myself am a trainer, a teacher, but I always look at myself as just a glass half filled. So the other half, I keep on learning. I learn all the time. I read books, I go to YouTube to learn. I listen to all the great people, all the people with achievement, all the people who has overcome obstacles. I have learned a lot. I'm very highly charged, so very touchy and very highly motivational. For those who miss today's program, it's going to be in YouTube, so that it will be accessible to wider group of fans. Now I'm having my new friend here, Sunny, helping us with the website. We are going to improve our website so that we are more available globally. A writing pad from the Academy. For those who haven't got one, there is a stack of writing pad lying there just behind the screen. You can pick up one each. This is Biwa booklet. Biwa was founded 27 years ago, a movement to promote, to spread healthy lifestyle and vegan food. We published this 3 or 4 years ago. Also, those who haven't got one, there is a booklet lying there. You can pick up one each. I like to announce our major event of the year. Of course, we keep on having events all the time. Not as much as we used to 15, 20 years ago. I used to host event, especially Viva. Our first 10 years, we used to host event for those among the old timer with us. Ajahn Mike here, almost from the beginning with us. Ajahn Narula, our founding member. You know that we used to hold twice a month meeting for first 10 years, twice a month, almost more than any organizations in the world. And today, not so much, about once a quarter, because today is the age of social media, so we don't feel the need to hold that frequent meeting as we used to. So once every quarter is still there, but let me announce the major event for this year is Viva 28th anniversary. We celebrated 27th anniversary last year. We were founded on Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, 2nd October 1991. So this year is going to be our 28th anniversary. But we are not holding anniversary on 2nd October, it's going to be on 6th October because we choose Sunday. Sunday suits more people. So Sunday, 6th October this year, please note in your diary, going to be at the same venue. Of course, our major event, this hall cannot accommodate. It's going to be our regular venue, Lotus Hotel, Sukhumvit, Soy 33. Let me also extend invitation to you, Dr. Namita. Save in your diary. We like to have your honor Sunday, 6th October. Yes, and we'll send you formal invitation. Another announcement, not our event, but it's a India-Thai related event, Thai-India Fun Fair. I think it's is it the 5th one or the 6th one?
16. Fifth one.
No, 16, but it's the 5th one. Fifth one, yeah. We have had every year for the last 4 years. So this is the 5th one. This coming Saturday, from 3 p.m. up to 10 p.m. Starting at 3 p.m. up to 10 p.m. at Sri Nakarindra Road ground, Sukhumvit, Soy 23. They have a big ground there in the middle of the campus. It's going to be right there with a lot of tents, and it's free entry.
You can enter from Ashok House.
You can enter from Ashok or from Soy 23. It's free entry. It's just right where you live, Tom. You live in Supalai building, right? Supalai building. Right next to Supalai building is an entrance to this university. So please do join this Saturday 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Entry free. There is no charge to get in, but you pay for the food you like to eat. So it's going to be fashion show, Indian fashion show, and a lot of other contest, competition, and a lot of Indian food. You just have to pay for whatever contest, competition you want to join, or you pay for the food you like to eat. It's going to be a good time, and also it will serve as a network. It serves as a network. You meet people, you meet old friends, you meet new friends. Do join. I will be there. I will be there. Tomorrow I'm fully packed with day event, evening event. Saturday I'm packed with morning event. So afternoon 3 to 10 I'm going to be there. Now, just for Dr. Namita information, you may not be very familiar with Thailand yet. To us in India, your meal time is very late. You know, in Thailand we eat much earlier.
I eat from between 5:30 to 6:30.
Oh, that's very early. So you very well fit into Thai timing. In India, for those who are not very familiar in India, if you are invited to a dinner, you cannot expect to eat before 9 p.m. Can be 9, 9:30, 10. And if you are invited to a wedding, you can more or less wait up to 11 before you will eat your dinner. So normally when I'm in India and I'm invited to a dinner or especially to a wedding, I eat before I go. Otherwise I feel starving. We are not used to. In Thailand, our lunch time is 12 to 1. Our dinner time can be as early as 5 or 6 or 7. These are our dinner time. It can be maybe the latest maybe 7:30 or 8. Most people will not eat later than 7:30 or 8. Yes. Okay. So we'll end this event followed by our dinner. What we are serving here, of course, this is not a vegan event. This is not a Viva. This is for Narula Academy. But whenever I'm the host, we only serve vegan. And for those who are new today, for those, many of us are very familiar with my event, you know, but those who are for the first time here, I'm not forcing anyone to be vegan. I like you to look at this way. You don't want to eat the same food every day. One day you eat Korean food. One day you eat pizza. One day you eat noodles. One day you eat luxury restaurant. One day you might like to try Bangkok famous street food. So look at this way. If you are not a vegan, look at this way. Today you are trying a vegan. I'm not forcing you to be vegan. But I'm sure you will find it delicious. Basically it's a Thai food, Thai vegan food, maybe with one or two Indian dish, but basically it's a Thai food. And then we have cakes complimentary from veganery, and then we have Thai dessert. Before I close, before we walk out, we'll take a group photo right here. So please, after I close today's get together, please do not walk out. We'll have a group photo. Then we walk out, serve ourselves with buffet outside there, and come back to the room. And then it's also a time for dinner and then networking. Once again, thank you very much. May I close for Narula Academy Champreneur Talk number 60. Thank you very much.